Hi, my name is Sean Sutherland, and you are listening to Let's Talk with Sean Suth. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about schools that are not taking responsibility. So, let's talk. Okay, yeah, so this is a bit of a hard-hitting topic, and yeah, I really want to talk about this because it has been flaws and things that I've seen in my friends' schools, in my own schools that I've been in, and it is something that needs to be talked about. It is not something that we can keep quiet. It is not something we can sweep under the rug and just forget about it. This is a real issue. Schools tend to not only be a bit more sexist towards women and the way that they should dress and the way that they should look, rather than the men and their behaviors. I know of school incidents where the teachers tell the girls, if something happens, let me know. And I have a friend who has gone through this, and she did tell a teacher. She did everything that she was supposed to do. And what came out in the end? Absolutely nothing. The school basically had a small talk with the boys, and then after that it was fine. But it's not. Schools aren't taking responsibility for their students, are they? They're basically shoving all of the bad things and all of things that could damage their reputation under the rug. And that is something that is really a horrifying perspective, seeing as most people send their children to schools because a school is like normalized. We all know about school. A school is not a new topic. It's not something strange out of the ordinary. But I think it's something very much different that happens inside the school than what we think does. Lots of people think that schools have very strict rules and they stick by them. But I've seen many incidents where students have crossed a line clearly, and there was absolutely no punishment. It was just the thing of, don't do it again, you know it's wrong. And I do not like that. I do not like that at all. Schools should start standing up and taking responsibility for things that happen, especially on school grounds. Even if there's a counselor at school and you tell them about an incident with another person that happened off of school, they should take responsibility. And this also goes hand in hand with my consent podcast, and it is very much like schools just don't own up to the mistakes that happen in the school. They tell the girls to dress a certain way because if they dress another way, it can be deemed as inappropriate or distracting for the boys. And I am a feminist, honestly. So I think women should be allowed to wear what they want, what they feel comfortable in. And if the boys can't control themselves, or if they feel obligated to say something about how a girl dresses or things like that, then it's their problem. And the fault is not with the girl. A girl can be seen as innocent and sweet, and that shouldn't be determined by what she wears. You shouldn't be able to make assumptions out of people about what they wear, especially in school. School clothes, as we have seen, has progressed, and they give most of the girls either dresses or skirts and things like that when it comes to uniforms. and then it should be a certain length. Is there any length check for the boys' pants or things like that? No, there's not. And that is one of my biggest problems. They put all this pressure on girls and actually young women by telling them not to dress a certain way, not to talk a certain way, and that is horrifying, honestly. We put children in schools to shape their personalities, and I sure as hell know that I wouldn't put my child in a school where they don't get what they deserve. When an incident happens, they tell someone about it and nothing happens. It is honestly terrifying. I mean, schools are the places where most of social anxiety and stress and things like that come out, because no one likes an environment where they can be jeopardized, especially girls. And I'm not being sexist. I know there are guys too that struggle with this, and I totally acknowledge them. Don't get me wrong, but with girls, I have realized that even if an incident happens, they don't feel comfortable telling the school about it. And that's not a flaw with them. That's a flaw in the school system. I mean, a school is supposed to be a place, your safe haven, and a place where you can feel at home. Like, it's basically your second home. I mean, you spend 12 years in school, and I think it's very uncomfortable if you have to live in dire circumstances, even at school. I think it's quite crazy how schools are not taking responsibility. I think that lots of schools go in with a mentality of boys can control themselves and the girls should be dressed appropriately so that the boys can do it. First of all, if the boys can't control themselves, that's their problem, not anyone else's. Mostly the aspect from what happens in school come from the teachers and and the students' peers, and it is a thing that is noticeable. The teacher will notice the guys checking out a girl or things like that, and I think schools have made such standards and such obligations that girls don't feel comfortable. They don't feel comfortable talking about it. They don't feel comfortable raising a voice. Feminism in school is, I think, a bit frowned upon because people don't want strong women leading them. I know Princess Diana once said that in the royal household she was strong, and people didn't like that because they wanted to know where their strength comes, where her strength comes from, and where is she going to take it. And I think it's very true. And by suppressing feminism in schools, it learns girls to put their head down and say, I was wrong. I was wrong to wear this. And that is a load of crap, honestly. It is your body, it is your choice. And if you feel comfortable wearing a certain item of clothing, then you feel comfortable wearing it. And if that makes other people uncomfortable, that's their problem. And incidents that are reported to schools hardly ever see consequences. Even when it comes to simple things such as bullying, schools might be having a talk with a bully or things like that, but there's never consequences. Schools have the mentality of giving children a second chance, and I believe that is true, but I believe that there should also be punishment for acts. You can't just say don't do it again, or let's just hope this doesn't happen again. Because bullying and sexual assault and consent within schools is not an easy topic. It is something that lots of people, they know about it, they have experienced it, but they don't say anything about it because the patriarchy and the society that we live in has marked schools as a certain type of way, and schools are the right way, and that is one of the biggest problems that I also have with society. And I feel kind of obligated to raise a voice against it, and raise a voice saying that schools need to stop. They need to stop with their bullshit. Sorry for saying that word, but they really do. They need to start owning up. They need to start taking responsibility. And especially with girls or bully victims and some guys, a lot of guys maybe even, they should start taking responsibility. And I'm not saying this to attack schools or to make someone angry from a bigger division or something. I'm saying this to raise a voice, raise awareness, and yes, I mean, that's very important. I am going to be ending off with 2 quotes, and Sir Winston Churchill said, "The price of greatness is responsibility." And that's very important when it comes to school, because it's a small price to pay just to take responsibility. Next, Jack Canfield said, "Sincerity means dropping the image facade and showing a willingness to be vulnerable." And schools need to be doing that. Schools need to be vulnerable. Schools need to take responsibility, start looking after their students. And yeah, so that is all that I have for today on my podcast. Thank you very much for listening. That was another episode of Let's Talk with Sean Sutherland, and yeah, you should have an amazing day. I believe in you. You should believe in you. And yeah, let's do this. Hi, my name is Sean Sutherland, and you are listening to Let's Talk with Sean Suth. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about schools that are not taking responsibility. So, let's talk. Okay, yeah, so this is a bit of a hard-hitting topic, and yeah, I really want to talk about this.